Near the southern borders of South Africa's Kruger National Park, under the unforgiving sun, an old male lion wandered slowly across the brittle plains. His steps were labored, heavy with the weight of years gone by. This lion, once the proud leader of a powerful pride, had reigned over these lands through countless seasons, guiding his family through hunts, droughts, and battles. He had once stood tall, his mane full and golden, his eyes sharp and commanding. But time, as it always does, had claimed its toll. His mane was now patchy and dull, tangled by the wind and dust. His face had hollowed out, the eyes deep-set and dim with exhaustion. Most of his teeth had either broken or fallen out, leaving only a few worn remnants. His body, once a symbol of dominance, was now skeletal, ribs clearly visible beneath a coat marred by sores and infections. The younger lions had long since dethroned him. Nature is not kind to age in the wild. Now he roamed alone, exiled from his pride, with no strength to claim territory or bring down prey. Day after day, he moved aimlessly across the grasslands he once ruled, occasionally letting out a strained roar, soft, weak, unheard. He searched for water in drying pools and attempted to stalk game he could no longer catch. Hunger gnawed at him constantly. But still he kept walking, driven by instinct and memory. Tourists visiting the park began to notice a lion far from any pride, a shadow of what he once was. Photographs were taken from a distance, and those images soon reached park authorities. The photos spoke volumes. A lion at the edge of life. Rangers Themba and Sifo, both seasoned wildlife caretakers, reviewed the images with quiet urgency. They knew they had to act quickly. Together they packed essential gear, medical supplies, a tranquilizer gun, and carefully selected chunks of fresh meat, before setting out to find the lion. Kruger National Park is enormous, and tracking a single animal is never easy. Under the relentless sun, they scanned the terrain, reading footprints, droppings, and claw marks on tree bark. Sifo followed the prints etched in the dust, each one slightly deeper than the last, a sign of the lion's worsening condition. Themba surveyed the dry brush ahead. Eventually, beneath a sparse thicket of trees, they saw him. The lion lay slumped on his side, ribs heaving as he struggled to breathe. His limbs twitched slightly as if trying to stand but failing. His eyes were half closed, the light in them flickering. For a moment no one spoke. The mighty king of this land now looked more like a memory than a threat. They kept their distance. Though weak, a lion is always a lion. Themba raised the tranquilizer rifle but hesitated. Something in the lion's posture told him it wasn't necessary. Sifo quietly said, "We try gentleness first." They approached slowly, carefully, each step measured to avoid causing alarm. The lion saw them but didn't react. Sifo began to speak in a calm, steady voice, hoping to reassure him. Themba extended a piece of meat, its scent wafting in the dry air. The lion's nostrils flared slightly. A flicker of life stirred. With immense effort, he craned his neck forward and gently bit into the meat, chewing slowly with what little strength remained. As he ate, Themba administered a small dose of vitamins and pain relief with a handheld injector. The lion barely noticed. He continued chewing as if the food was more precious than safety. For a few moments, there was only silence and slow chewing. The beginning of trust had taken root. Sifo offered water in a shallow bowl, and the lion drank in slow gulps, the relief visible in every motion. Themba and Sifo shared a glance. This was their chance. They brought a transport cage from the truck and set it nearby, leaving the door wide open. No tranquilizers this time. They wanted the lion to walk in on his own terms. Themba again used meat to coax him forward, step by shaky step. Each movement was a battle, his legs trembling, tail dragging. Yet he walked, inching toward the cage like a soldier returning from war. When he reached the entrance, he turned his head toward Themba as if asking, "Is this safe?" Themba extended a hand, gently touching the lion's mane. The lion didn't flinch. And then, with quiet acceptance, the old king stepped inside. Sifo carefully shut the door and locked it. They both let out a breath they hadn't realized they were holding. The lion lay down, breathing hard but calm. They secured the cage in the truck bed, covering it with netting to block the sun. The journey back to the rehabilitation center began. They drove slowly, avoiding every bump. Curious tourists watched as the truck rolled past, confused, surprised, even moved, by the sight of the tired lion inside. At the facility, staff were ready. The lion was carefully transferred to a recovery enclosure lined with straw and shaded from the sun. Vets began treatment immediately, disinfecting wounds, injecting antibiotics, managing the pain. His dental condition was grim, few teeth left, none suitable for eating raw meat. But he was in safe hands now. Each day he was given minced food enriched with nutrients. Bandages were changed, infections checked. He no longer needed to fight, chase, or fear. He could finally rest. Over the weeks, the lion's condition slowly stabilized. He gained a bit of weight. His fur, though still rough, began to look cleaner. Though he would never return to the wild, he was not alone. Themba often sat quietly by the enclosure, watching, sometimes speaking. Saifo monitored his diet, adjusting portions, observing his sleep and behavior. The lion grew accustomed to their presence, recognizing them not as enemies but as companions. He even leaned his head against their hands once in a while, a fragile, rare gesture of trust in a world that had long been brutal. In the wild, the law is survival. But here, in this quiet space carved out of compassion, the lion lived his final chapter in dignity. He would never return to his old pride, never roam the grasslands as their king again. But in this small sanctuary he found something equally powerful: peace. Thank you for staying with us to hear the story of this old warrior. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe to support more stories of rescue, care, and hope in the wild.